So I've been working a lot on this project lately, which I call Mario vs Luigi Infinite, and I finally wanted to make a video about it. There's a mode from New Super Mario Bros. DS where you could play against each other in a mode called Mario vs Luigi. You would collect stars and the first one to have a certain amount of stars would win the game. I really liked the game idea as a kid and I spent hours with one of my friends playing it a day. It was simply awesome. Now, all those years later, my Nintendo DS sadly broke and isn't working anymore, so there was no way for me to experience this kind of gameplay again. Except for buying one, of course, but I guess I was too greedy for that. But then someday I came to the idea that I could actually replicate this game on PC. It would be an opportunity to enhance my rather basic programming skills and to experience this old school game all again. I even had an online multiplayer in mind, but it didn't start to implement it right away. Which led me to some problems in the future of this project, but I will get back to this later on in the video. So I started programming the game in the Godot engine and the first results looked like this. I've decided to choose NSMB1 graphics for this project as it's rather easy to implement and I actually like that style. Really, there isn't anything special about this so far, it's just basic movement and no animation whatsoever. Then I implemented more advanced physics and player animations. I tried to be very close to the original NSMB1 game here, and it already looks so much better than the first version I've just shown you. I then created some enemies and their abilities, as well as the first few items. Multiple players got implemented next, and as you can see, here they are all controlled by the same inputs, which looks kind of fun. Player interactions, just like jumping on each other or bumping, seemed a bit more complex to implement, which took me quite some time. I then created a split screen mode, a first full level and the collectible star, along with a restoring function of the level once you collect the star. This is the most basic version which has full functionality. I then proceeded to add more details and colors, such as bushes and clouds. From here on, it just got more and more advanced. Item collecting animations, player colors, some more item effects, and most importantly, sounds. I also decided to add some of the new Super Mario Bros. Movements too, like ground pounding and wall jumps, just to mimic the classic gameplay even more. The infinite scroll was something I had to solve a bit longer, but it eventually worked just fine. I even got it to work vertically, which looks really cool in my opinion. So that's that for the development process. What does this game actually feature? The gameplay is similar to the one on the DS, which was actually the main goal of this project. You even have the same 5 stages from the original game, which are almost the same. There are minor things that don't perfectly match up, but it should be mostly the same experience. I've also added a few custom levels which feature some of the custom things I came up with, like fast pipes and this cool looking power block. Not to confuse with the original power block, this one has a very different effect. And also the hammer item, which just looks like the hammer suit from Super Mario Bros. 3. I even came up with some Mario Maker stuff, like being able to stand on moving Buzzy Beetles or this fancy ducking animation. And yes guys, I can't stress this enough, it was really important to implement this feature. Some of the levels just play better than others, especially small levels tend to be very fast paced. This pipe level is one of those, it's just very crazy, it's probably one of my favorite levels in the whole game. Or another one which is actually just one screen wide. There are a lot of other features which I didn't mention, so I made a little list and if you want to read it, just pause the video. There are still some things that don't work perfectly, which means that this game isn't completely bug-free. But me and my friend still had a blast playing it. It's not perfect, but I would say it's definitely playable. So it really did take a lot of time for me to get here, but I can say that I have learned a bunch of new stuff and had actually a lot of fun creating the game. Especially working with the Godot engine has been a lot of fun. I'm pretty happy about the results with this project so far. Now, what will happen to the project in the future? Well, I already mentioned I originally wanted this game to be playable online. It would just have been really cool to connect to a host and play together with 4 players, or maybe even more. So I tested some of the networking things that the Godot engine has to offer. And I've implemented a very basic online mode. The game synchronizes only a small part of what's going on in the game, like player positions and star counts. There's even a chat, but that's all there is. The problem with all of this is that this project didn't start out in a very modular coding style. The code is pretty much messy at some parts and it lacks documentation. This current state of the project makes it much harder to implement such features like networking. You really have to read a lot into the code first, and all of this will take a lot of time. So I don't think I will continue working on this project because I already poured so much time into it. There's a lot of other cool things that I would really like to do, which is not possible for me when I keep working on this project. But this is where the community comes in. The source code is available on GitHub, so if anyone wants to implement things like new levels, items, or maybe even a full online feature, feel free to contribute. If this is not a one-man project anymore, but rather a community project, it will be much more likely that something like the networking feature will ever get implemented. Something's already there, it's just not complete yet. And if you don't contribute, you can still just download the game and have fun with your friends locally on split screen. It really invites for some good couch gaming action, which feels a lot more like the good old days on consoles. You can find the GitHub repository and the download link in the video description. So that's about it. Thanks for watching to this point, and whatever you do with this game, have fun.